Hey everybody, welcome to Doc's Autos. If this is your first time here, thanks for stopping by and checking out our Bobcat work. If you're returning, thank you very much. So today we are doing an oil change on our 2013 Bobcat S850. This thing is a tank, and we bought it a couple years ago, right before that period in time no one talks about, and with about 8,700 hours on it. It's a lot of hours, but everything was gone through at 6,000 hours. Motor, engine, all the drive wheels, gearing, chains, all of that stuff was rehabbed and redone. So pretty much it's a 2,000 hour machine if you want to look at it that way. And for the use that we give it around here, it's got a good retirement. I used to run grain scoops at a cattle farm in Iowa. And single owner, dealer maintained, so when we bought it, it seemed like a really good deal. At least 10 grand less than anything in our region, with the joystick controls and a cab that was not destroyed inside. And also, the S850, it's huge. It's big. Anyways, we are at a point where we're not to our service life for the hours in terms of running time yet. But it's been some time on the calendar and it should be changed. It was just changed right before we bought it with 8,707 hours on it. Now we have 8,870 hours on it, so not a whole lot of hours in the couple years we've owned it. But again, it's one of those things, it's just time. Probably should have done it last year, but with the minimal amount of use that it gets, it's not worked hard. It's not beat on. So let's figure out what we're doing. So I went out and bought the actual proper Bobcat oil filter from Bobcat. My local shop didn't have one in stock, had a different model number. And I'm like, I'm just gonna stick with what's on here because that's what the book says. So say what you want, that's what I'm doing. And we are throwing in the Shell ROTELLA T6 Synthetic 5W40. Now this thing has a number of different oils you can use for it depending on your temperature, climate, zone, conventional, synthetic. But synthetic is in everything else in this house. So that's what's going in the Bobcat. It makes things easy and I don't have to think about it. So let's go ahead and take a look at draining the oil out of this. Now, depending on your make model, you may have your oil drain in a different spot. This one has a hose, I believe, up under here. And if it hangs down here, if you can see, there is a drain plug on the bottom of it. Undo the plug and all of your oil should come out. So let's find a wrench for that. Alrighty, 22 mil, I should have known better. So I got my vice grips on one side here, or my, whatever you want to call it, crescent, because I don't have a second 22 mil. As I just dropped my wrench in the oil. All right, I don't have two sockets or two wrenches, but I've got a socket and a wrench. So let's see if we can knock this open. There we go. Now, hopefully this thing is big enough. Yeah. That'll take a minute. Let me go ahead and crack the fill and knock loose the oil filter while I let this thing drain. All right, we've got our oil fill. Okay. And we've got our filter right here. We'll crack him loose. Let me go find a filter wrench. There we go. I want to grab something a little to brag in case there's anything that leaks out of here so we're not dripping on our starter. There we go, a little drip there. Did go ahead and bring Bob up here to the garage last night, so we had the night to thaw out, but the oil is still draining slowly. Of course, it is going from the block down through the hose out the bottom here, so we're gonna go ahead and let this thing drain for a while. Judging how quickly it's draining, it'll be a while, so yeah, let this drain, and then we'll come back for, actually, you know what? I'm gonna put the oil filter back on here right now, just so we don't get anything, any contaminants in here. Got some other work to do on it. I wanna go ahead and rewire the camera up front, but let's go ahead and get the oil filter back on it just so that's said and done. All right. New filter. Same, got our same numbers. It's always good. I know there's plenty of other filters you could put on here, different brands, whatnot, but when I can, I try and stick with what's on the vehicle, especially if it's factory, stick with that. And but it's about the same price, so I'm not gonna worry about a couple of dollars to have Bobcat on here versus some off-brand. Anyways, I'm gonna grab a little bit of oil out of here just to wet this new ring. You know, it's pretty much just like a car, so nothing terribly difficult or different. Screw it on tight, give it another little turn. There we go. And that's done. Now what we do is we go find a Sharpie. The big Sharpie, and I'm a lefty, so hold on. Alrighty, so I've got that labeled, so we know when our filter is changed and the hours. I know some people put them on vehicles, or they just stick to 5,000 miles, 10,000 miles, never. But for me, I like to date any of my machinery because sometimes, like I said, we don't use it that much. So I'd like to make sure, even if we're not hitting the hour mark, we're looking at a calendar and saying, it's been a while, we should probably change that. Anyways, I'm gonna let the oil keep draining because it's just trickling out of there now. It's a couple of years old, it's black, it needs to be done, and I'm sure it's not a synthetic blend. So we'll just let that sit, and we'll come back when it's emptied out. Alrighty, well, we have let this thing drain quite a while. Had lunch, checked the air in the tires, lubed up all of the joints. Yeah, and I actually went and I poured just a little more fresh oil down here because I wanted to just double check, make sure that this line was empty. Just down a really slow drip now, and I wanted to pour a little fresh oil in it just to see if I got clean oil out the bottom of that drain hose, and I did. So I'm gonna go ahead, close up this cap here on that little drain hose, tuck it back underneath, and then we can go ahead and start adding in our new 5W40 ROTELLA T6. Not too big of a deal here. I don't think you can see it, but there's just a really slow drip every 5 to 7 seconds. So I'm gonna call this as good as empty. I'm sure there's still a little sitting up in the somewhere, but I'm not that worried about a little bit of oil. We got most of the bad stuff out. So let's go ahead and throw our cap back on. Remove that so I don't manage to drop a wrench in it. There we go. Get my socket off of here. There you go. You can tuck him back up under here. It's a loose bolt down there. I'll have to figure out where it goes. That's neat. Yeah, no clue where that one goes. Anyway, we've got that little drain plug back on. I'll figure out where those bolts go, why it's loose. I'm sure it's been that way for a while. I'm sure, I don't know, maybe holds on. I don't know what it holds on. Maybe the rear lift piston, not an engine mount. I don't know. It's not important, right? Anyways, I'm going to start filling up the oil. I believe this takes, well, looking around here between 2.5, 3.5 gallons. I haven't found a very clear message yet. So I'm going to go ahead and just put in 2 gallons. Start there, because that's about what I've got out of here. And I'll check my dipstick. And when we're full, I'll turn it on for a minute, let things cycle around, and then double check again. We're not going to have a half quart sitting in the bottom of a filter because it's horizontal. So again, not too worried about that. And hey, I'm sure it leaks a little bit of oil. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get this thing filled up. Tiny little funnel, because that's all I've got handy that fits in the hole. So this is no doubt going to take a while. You know, I'm gonna pour from my single gallon jug first because that's got a smaller mouth and it's gonna pour a lot cleaner. Alrighty, we're right up to the fill line. We've got, yeah, maybe there is a half gallon left. So roughly 3 gallons. Actually, I'm gonna pour this into here and recycle this big jug. So there is about 1.5 quarts left in here. So we got, yeah, 2.5. Almost 3.5, so probably just a little over 3 gallons in here. And like I said, we'll let it run, circulate things around, then I'll double check the fluids. But what I want to do before I'm done here is I'm going to go, I just clean up back here a little bit. Nothing major, just kind of a tidy up as long as we're here and it's warm. And then I'll go ahead and wrap this up. Alrighty, well, got her cleaned up a lot better. It's not perfect, but again, it's in the garage. I don't feel like making a giant slurry of sludge where I park and walk every day. So until spring comes around, I can go outside with the power washer, a little more degreaser. This is going to be it for us today. The oil is in. We're good to go. And again, another simple DIY thing you can do at home. I don't know what a dealer would cost to come out or a service tech would come out to do this. I'm kind of in the middle of nowhere, so probably not $19.95 at my local Jiffy Lube. So again, simple, a 22 mil socket and wrench for my particular machine here. Yours, of course, may vary. But if you like this, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Lots of good content, not just Bobcat stuff. We've got car restorations, we've got other DIY stuff in general, anything with wheels. So again, like the video, share it out if you've got somebody with a Bobcat who just said, dang, I spent $300 having the oil changed. They could have used this. Anyways, till next time, thanks for watching, and we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.